All right. We're back. JuddzBudz, Budz, episode 135. Gretzky plus Zuccarello episode. I always do the 38 and 36 thing with him and Hartman, though, even though they're not remotely similar players, but I do it every single fucking time. Anyways, as always, your host, Bob Z, joined by my good buddy, Mr. at State of Hoppy Hoppy. How are we doing today?
We're doing all right. We have beer now. Things are good.
Yeah, that works. Beer's good. It's Red Solo Cup Day. I decided officially. I was just using it to get a bottle, but now I'm invested today. I'm going with the Red Solo Cups. Makes me feel young. No, it doesn't. I drink the same amount. Where should we go? I mean, do we want to just start with like the Wild here? Because like I have pretty similar comments to what I had last week. They're
pretty
good.
Similar comments.
They're the only team in the league that hasn't trailed at all this season, which is crazy. At no point have they been losing. And like again, Filip Gustavsson appears to be back to 2 years ago. Filip Gustavsson. He has been incredible. And even with some guys already getting hurt pretty early, they look good, dude. Like, I'm just feeling much more comfortable with them as a whole. And I actually think, weirdly, even though like it's not like they're popping off with the stats necessarily, but I do like having like Rossi on the top line and Hartman on that third line. I do think even if they don't pop off for points, I mean, Rossi's on a tear right now. He's a point per game player, but like, I think it just gives them more of a like identity as lines anyways. So I like the balance of the forward group. Brock Faber is fucking unbelievable again. Fourth in the league in time on ice, with him on the ice at 5v5. Expected goals percentage for Minnesota is like 70%, which is like I think third in the league among any defenseman who have played 50 minutes even strength. I feel much better about them, 5 games in? And again, even with some big-time injuries through a couple of these games, I feel way better.
I feel way better than I thought I would. That's for sure. Especially given all the circumstances you laid out, right? If you told me no Ack, no Spurgeon, I'd be like, okay, have fun. No, it's hard to complain. Granted, like, I think it's also fair to say that they haven't been like overly tested.
Mm-hmm.
It's early. Like there's a lot more to see, but how long do you think we're going to keep the trend going of people making posts talking about who Filip Gustavsson has more goals than?
I was already annoyed by it 4 minutes after it started. I was like, no. And then of course, next game, I think everyone that people were laying out other than like McDavid that scored. Like 2, I think, scored that night, like fucking 35 minutes later. but I mean, I guess we'll just jump right to that. Oh my God. The fact, first of all, that he like Fleury apparently during the timeout was like, dude, just fucking do it. Like, just go for it. Why not? And like, also in practice when he goes for it, apparently he could never lift it high enough. And he just got it. And he threw a fucking dart. And the celebrations were fucking incredible. And I, at least 3 times per day since that goal, have gone back and just looked at the box score on the NHL app because it's so funny that it was a power play goal. It's like Filip Gustavsson won PPG. Like, it's so funny that it was a power play goal. It's the funniest picture I've ever seen. It's just like, it's ridiculous. But Filip Gustavsson, the first goal in Wild history, the 3rd ever goalie power play goal in NHL history.
That's impressive. A really fun one this morning on the newer, not improved version of 32 Thoughts. Someone asked them who is the oldest person to score their first NHL goal. And I think, like, I don't know if he was 3rd place or top 5, but one of them was Pekka Rinne. which is awesome.
I would never have even thought about that. I guess it makes sense to go down the goalies, but like I actually that wouldn't have even computed in my brain. But that rocks. I love that stat.
Very awesome. And is John Hines like? Is that his biggest value to the team? Is that he knows how to get goalies to score?
It might be. And now that since he's been behind the bench, they've had a goalie goal, and then last season they pulled the goalie in overtime to score at overtime. So like he does, like cool shit happens sometimes when he's behind the bench. Apparently in Minnesota, not Weird Wild.
Shit.
But that was the best. So like last year we had Wallstedt score in Iowa. Now we've got an NHL goalie goal. It rules. I love it. And again, it just feels so much different than last year when like everything was going horrifically wrong. It's big that Kaprizov's already at a point per game. Boldy's at a point per game. Marco Rossi's got points in all but one game so far, and he looked really good in all three zones, really. And the special teams are holding up at least. The PK was looking iffy at one point, but
holding up with duct tape.
Yep. The past few games, they've had a couple like 4 minutes that they've killed off. They've had a couple of shorthanded chances. Like I just feel like it's just literally the polar opposite the start last year. So again, I think we were both like iffy, skeptical, but like this isn't like a bad hockey team coming in.
Yeah.
But through 5 games, I have nothing but like positive things to say so far.
Yeah, and got to talk the other side of the coaching battle too. Seen him twice, both arenas. Dean Evason, has he basically locked in a job as long as he wants to have him in the NHL? Like he will always have a role with a team that's either a fringe playoff team or a bad team in general, because he'll come in and he will immediately give you like at least a 30% jolt.
Yeah, Columbus has looked like, I mean, obviously they haven't won every game, but like they stayed in every game pretty much. They beat Colorado, and they've got some guys scoring some ridiculous goals, and they've got a bunch of horrific injuries already. I think
Totally.
what, three already. And by the way, Yegor Shinnikov, oh my God, can that kid shoot a hockey puck? The goals that he scored this year, all of them have been fucking outrageous. Just an absolute missile. But they're fun to watch. I mean, I forget who they're playing. When they were playing Florida, they came back at the end of the game there. They had like a couple of really good chances to tie it up late. Shout out Spencer Knight. He made a couple of ridiculous saves. Good to see him back in the NHL and playing well. But like Columbus has been staying in games. Again, they beat Colorado, which apparently everyone's going to do this year because they stink. I don't know. Even though Cale Makar has the most points in the league. Oh my God, he's already.
What was that graphic though from Jay Fresh, basically showing that like Cale Makar with McKinnon, kicking ass, McKinnon kicking ass, the team without McKinnon or Makar kicking ass, Makar without McKinnon bad.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
It's very strange. I'm just gonna choose to not even acknowledge it because I don't believe it. But like for real, it's not just that it's like a not great team on paper with some key guys getting hurt. Like they give a lot of shits. Like they care.
Yeah.
Like they are giving it. And granted, we'll see if that wears over the course of the season, but like this is a team that has every reason to be hanging their heads and moping, and like they're fucking going. And like you said, they're competitive. Are they going to win every game? Fuck no. But like they're competitive. They're staying in these games. And it's Dean Evason masterclass, just like what we saw with him dragging average teams to 100-point performances. Like this guy can coach in the NHL as long as he so chooses.
Yeah, and like we said this, I think before the season started too. Like, is Columbus going to be a playoff team? No, but like the thing that Dean Evason brings, which was all like when he got hired, we were saying like, there has been just like pure misery for the last couple of years in Columbus. Like that's an unbelievable fan base. Like when that team is good, that barn is rocking. I mean, they sold out like every game last year anyways. It's a great fan base. But like if there's one huge positive trait that Dean Evason has as a coach is his teams will run through a brick wall for him, and they're doing that every single shift. And one guy that I'm very happy for that looks really good is Sean Monahan. He's looked really good to start the year. Had that goal their first game back in Columbus, which was, I mean, what a pregame ceremony in honor of Johnny Gaudreau. That was incredible.
Very
but
cool.
Of course, he scores. But he's looked really good, so I'm very, very happy for a guy like Sean Monahan. Continue. He looked good last year too. He had his big bounce back year, so hopefully that continues. But yeah, no, Columbus is a pain in the ass to play against. Which again, Dean Evason, this is what he does. His players run through a brick wall for him, all effort, and they've got a couple young guys too that look really good. So yeah, no, good for Columbus.
Very, very good for Columbus. Wild have an interesting stretch here now after what we said wasn't a tough start. Florida, Tuesday, Thursday, Tampa, Saturday, Philly, which you can go either way on that. And we'll talk about them later, but Pittsburgh on Tuesday, which who knows what the fuck that'll be. But what's an acceptable outcome? Like, what do you need to see for these 4 games for your opinion to not have changed?
I mean, realistically, it's just when they play Tampa and Florida to look like they belong, honestly, because I'll tell you what, I think the team that so far, when we did our predictions or whatever, the one team that's really making me already, I mean, again, they've played 4 games, but Tampa Bay, still top heavy, but oh my God.
The top is heavy.
They look fucking incredible. And if they can find, as the season goes here, I mean, they've got Radish on that top power play unit, which is not obviously what you want. So if they can find a middle 6 scoring right wing, which is the most abundant thing possible in this league, that power play is going to continue just to rip. But Kucherov, good Lord. But that second line of Cirelli, Hagel, and Nick Paul, it's one of the best, most well-constructed lines in the NHL right now. When they're on the ice, they are suffocating. They are unbelievably physical. They give you nothing as far as when they're defensively or whatever. And I think the goals with them on the ice are 95% in their favor. Expected goals are 85%. They have the puck the whole time, and they suffocate you in all 3. They are unbelievable. Victor Hedman looks like Victor Hedman. JJ Moser's fit in really well. They are a fucking problem. They look incredible. So I would strongly urge any team to also, again, keep them off the power play too, because Kucherov, now that Stamkos is gone, is looking like he's ready to just let everything fly. He's more of a shooting option now, but he is one of the most fun players to watch. Everything he does is sick. And now he's shooting. So he's I'm going to go win. I had 100 assists last year. I'm going to go win the Rocket. I think I'm going to give that a go this time and see how that goes for me. He looks fucking unbelievable, but Tampa Bay is a problem. Florida also still a problem. Even without guys like Chuck, without oh my God, Barkov. If I fucking forgot.
Kachuk is supposed to play, I think.
Yeah, Kachuk should be back. Barkov's close-ish. But since Barkov was out, Sam Reinhart just decided to go all the way off. He's leading the league in points as well, along with Makar with 12. They are terrifyingly good again. So I would say, again, you're probably hoping to at least go 500 there. You probably, as long as they're staying in games and look like they're competing, or, I mean, going back and forth, I wouldn't rule out them picking off one of those either. But again, if they get blown out, then I'm uh-oh, okay, a little reality check here. But yeah, no, that's going to be a tough swing for sure. They should beat Philly. Philly looks bad. They look bad. But shout out Michkov getting those first 2 goals in Calgary. Yep. In Pittsburgh, I mean, you could talk about Pittsburgh, but I mean, oh my God, Malkin. Oh my God. If Getty Malkin looks like he gives a fuck, it is terrifying.
He gives lots of shits. That's for sure. His demise was greatly exaggerated.
Yeah, what a mistake by the hockey world or anyone really that was just saying anything like, "Oh, he's bad."
No, he's the kind of guy, like, we talk about these players all the time, right? It's engagement. Like, when he's engaged, look the fuck out. Problem is, it's not always there, and it doesn't take a whole lot to get him off. So, like, I get the criticisms, but I still think it's, like, hilarious that he's been so, I don't know, disrespected is maybe a little harsh.
I think you can
shit, but
you can permanently say that he's been disrespected once he got left off the top 100.
100.
Like,
Yeah,
that gives him
101.
permanent fucking like permission to say that he's been disrespected.
Like, I'm sorry, is it crazy for me to say that he is, like, notedly better than both Duncan Keith and Jonathan Toews?
No, it's not a problem at all for me.
I'll give Kane the nod. I get it, but, like, I think Jonathan Toews is one of the more overrated players. Period. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad hockey player. He's a good hockey player. Bad leader, bad captain, but he's I don't know. People have, like, heralded him and, like, compared him side by side with Crosby, and I just think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, no. When Malkin, dude, like, which play was it? The 09, or actually both 08 and 09. Malkin was like, "I'm gonna take over every single fucking game, including when I get decapitated at one end. I'm gonna go in on a breakaway 2 seconds later and rip a slap shot. Like, that's what I'm gonna do." When he was just like, he was single-handedly by himself taking over playoff hockey games, winning them cups. It, like, he is a fucking animal. What's he got? 11 points, the second league in points right now.
Oh, he's torching right now, yeah, and him and Crosby, of course, like, both hit milestones in the same game. And my buddy, who's a Sabres fan, like, texted me, and he's like, "What happens if, like, those two things coincide on the same puck?" And my only response was, 3-year Super League.
So that shit is so funny to me. It's just like, okay, I guess I'll go.
Crosby would have cut that shit in half.
Yeah, oh yeah. 100%.
Which actually would make it way cooler.
Exactly. I mean, talk about Pittsburgh then. It's a mixed bag.
It's not great. It sucks when it's the same shit as last year, where it's like, oh, the guys you need to be going are going. Other shit's derailing it, which actually, like, their forward group, top to bottom, I don't really have complaints.
Lars Eller scored goals.
Their third line is actually, like, looking like a competent third line, which hasn't been the case in a while. Jesse Puljujärvi has people talking. That says everything you need it to. For me, it's funny, like, going to Winnipeg and they got the, "Where is Rutger" chant going, which, like, I love that. You need to do that. You have to. I don't know. He needs to be in the NHL playing meaningful minutes, I'd say, before the new year. Otherwise, I'm going to be really disappointed. It's fine that he got sent down. I hope that they didn't just do it because they're cowards and didn't want him to play against Winnipeg, but so be it.
I mean, yeah, Jaeger's in the WHL right now, so.
He's also a year younger.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. I was also like, I mean, the fucking poor kid. Like, I mean, it's gonna happen when you ask to fucking get traded out of Winnipeg. It's going to
no, 100%. Like, he has every right to do it. They have every right to boo. Like, sorry. And the goaltending is just the problem. It's the headline. And so on What Chaos, of course, shitting on Pittsburgh, which it's deserved. But people are coming after the Erik Karlsson trade again. And, of course, they have to, like, give a nod to friend of the show, Mike Grinnell, which, like, he is not a friend of our show. Never will be. They still go back to him, like, calling that this was such a horrible trade. Oh, that's going to look so bad as that contract ages if you guys really want to compete. Like, he is that dumb that is how he would understand it. I believe this. It doesn't shock me. The trade literally offloaded 3, like, albatross contracts. Now, Kyle Dubas didn't do himself any favors when he went and used that money to re-sign Tristan Jarry and to sign Ryan Graves, which I'll still go on record. I liked the Graves signing at the time, and I'm very, very wrong. Not the dollars of the term necessarily, but I liked him as a player, and I'm wrong. But like Erik Karlsson was brought in because it was a quick patch that was needed if they wanted to compete right away, which is what they were trying to do. They were trying to avoid this, like, what do they call it? A rebuild on the fly, a retool? I don't know. Like, that was a management mandate or an ownership mandate more than a management one. And he's still a good hockey player. There's just going to be a lot of liberties taken at your end of the ice when him and Chris Letang are your featured defenseman. That's just kind of what you signed up for. It'd be nice if they had a better goalie.
And like, I mean, I don't know if people just choose to not know this, but like, I mean, that's been the story with Erik Karlsson literally forever. So like, you know,
he had a short stretch though in Ottawa where like he actually looked like he was a pretty strong defensive guy too. It wasn't long lived, but there was like a 1 or 2 season stretch there where it was like, oh shit, he can do everything. Cool.
Yeah, when he was like fully able to move.
That helps.
Yeah.
Like he single-handedly almost beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016.
This close.
By himself. Like there was no one else. That was it.
That was like, first of all, it sucked for me personally because they beat the Bruins in the first round or whatever. But like that playoff run, like that team was so much fun. And like,
but it was confusing.
Hammer the overs, over and over. That Rangers series, it was like 6-5, 7-2. Like it was insane. But that playoff run from Erik Karlsson was legitimately outrageous, specifically due to that fucking 150-foot home run saucer pass tape to tape to noted best friend Mike Hoffman.
I was wondering if you would note the best friendship.
Who immediately proceeds to take the puck and then Forsberg on Tuukka Rask. That was one of the sickest playoff goals I've ever seen in my life. Charlie McAvoy was on Chicklets like that summer, and he was like, that was the best dash I've ever eaten in my life. He was like, I'm honest, I had to just like skate by like, nice pat, Eric. Like it was fucking unbelievable. But yeah, I don't know. Pittsburgh, it just confuses me. Again, I mean, realistically, you see a lot of the good, and then like I feel like it takes no time at all. One minor breakdown, it's going in the net every fucking.
See, I'm not confused at all. I'm confused how it got to this, but like I watched the game and it makes total sense. Like no defense, no goaltending, offense looks great, and we're gonna have another season where we waste Crosby and Malkin somehow defying time, and it's like, oh no, we're still gonna probably barely miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
What about your boys though? Like you have been a little unhinged lately, more so than normal.
Yeah, so I'm just not. So Boston Bruins, because they've played so many games, they're still technically second in the Atlantic. I think awesome. on point percentage, I think they're fifth. I mean, realistically, again, I picked them to finish third in the division. I'll probably be more comfortable with fourth now that I'm just watching Tampa be terrifyingly good.
One injury is all it takes.
Yeah, but with the Bruins, dude, my thing is I am just not used to this where, like, weirdly, they're now becoming the Bruins are, they always were hammer the under, obliterate the over right now because the top guys so far fucking stink. Like they Pastrnak's getting his points or whatever, and he does the same shit where it's like he makes 5 or 6 legitimately unbelievable plays in the course of a game. And some of the I don't give that man could do whatever he wants in the ice. I will never get mad. I don't give a fuck. When he turns the puck over on the power play, dangling at the fucking blue line, and they go in for a shorthanded breakaway, I'm like, I don't care. He pulls it off 60% of the time. But anyway. Works 100% of the time, 60% of the time. 60% of the time, 100% of the time. But Brad Marchand's been very hit or miss. Like, he's had some ridiculous turnovers. Montgomery lost his mind on him in the middle of the game, which I don't think has ever happened. But the top guys...
Marchand or Danny One?
Marchand.
Okay.
Well, no. Well, Montgomery openly screaming at a player directly
Okay.
since he got to Boston. He's
so a little different than him calling Pasternak a chicken shit in the presser.
Yeah, different. Yeah. But the video that I put out was like the Boston Bruins. There's this Italian soccer player who was like in a press conference. He was like, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. It's like, it's how they are, dude. But like, I'm not used to seeing the high event hockey, but they are being saved by what may go down as the greatest line in hockey history. The fourth line of Cole Koepke, Johnny Beecher, and Mark Kastelik. They have, I looked up the underlying numbers. They have 24% of their shifts start in the offensive zone. They have been on the ice for 8 goals for, 0 against. Their expected goals for is like 75%. And Mark Kastelik is a point per game player. Cole Koepke is a point per game player. Johnny Beecher has a couple points. Like, they're the best line going on the team right now. Like, and they are the only 3 guys that consistently have played well so far. Lindholm had a really nice start, cooled off last couple games, but like 1 turnover on the power play, and I'm expecting a shorthanded goal. Like, I think they've given up 10 shorthanded breakaways. Like, they just look so unreliable. And the second that Utah tied it up, like, the Bruins were kicking the shit out of them in the third period, and it was 1 fucking breakdown, 1 turnover, ends up in the back of their net. And the second they went to overtime, they had 0% chance of winning that hockey game. Like, they just don't inspire confidence whatsoever. But again, I think for me, my negativity stems from the fact, like, I am just not used to seeing a team in Boston give up a million scoring chances per game. Like, their one calling card, the reason they've been good forever, has been their back end, and they have been horrible defensively, like atrocious. So they're still a good hockey team. They'll finish 3rd or 4th for me, I'm guessing. Like, I'm still holding to that, but like, boy, those top guys need to get going here, because like when it's bad, it is ugly, and it's infuriating to watch. So that's where I land on them.
Can't imagine that feeling. Speaking of infuriating to watch, Mateo asks, are Nashville getting James Haggins?
Yeah, okay. So this is another one I wanted to mention through when we talk about the NHL. I really regret not going with my gut on Nashville. Like, I think they're gonna figure it out eventually, but it's gonna take a while. When you spend that much money, you bring that many like top players in, and like all 4 lines as a result look different. Your D looks different. It's gonna be I think they're gonna be fine. Like, but I definitely regret like being like going against my gut and putting them second in the Central, because like they're like, it's not like they're losing and getting unlucky. Like, they're just
bad.
Like, they look bad. And
if it makes you feel any better, my number 2 team was Colorado. So, there's that. Which team are you more worried about?
Probably Colorado, because Georgiev, actually. But it looks like Nichushkin's going to be joining the team soon. Didn't know that was me that fast. And I mean, they can still score. And I mean, a couple of the losses they had, like that, when they played the Bruins, they probably should have beat the Bruins. The Bruins were literally like trying to lose that hockey game, which again was just infuriating me. But like, Georgiev is legitimately a huge problem for them. Like, they will be controlling an entire period and give up 1 shot. I mean, the Anaheim game that they won in overtime, like, good Lord, they had 50 shots to like 14, and they went to go to fucking overtime because Georgiev like turned the puck over by like the net, and like, Carlson just poked it in. Shout out Leo Carlson, my son. But like he is a problem for them. In like a Noonan's off to a slow start too. Realistically, as a whole, they are off to an extremely slow start. So I'm honestly more worried about them specifically because of the goaltending. Like, again, I think Nashville is just taking a while to really gel and figure out how to play together, which always happens when you bring in that many, like 3 or 4 top players. When you bring them in, that's always going to take a minute to adjust. But like, I'm pretty confident Saros will be able to at least cover up more than he has so far. As they figure that out. Georgia, like, it doesn't matter if Colorado figures it out. Like, they could give up 12 shots and they're still going to have to score 4 goals.
Yeah. It's bad for both. That's for sure.
Yeah. If they both go another 5 games and only win like 1 or 2, like, already the math becomes not great. Like, when you look at it and like, it gets to the point where it's like for the remaining 55, 60 games, they have to win. Their point percentage needs to be like 800 to like squeak in. Then you're like, uh-oh, like, that's okay. That's a massive issue. But like, I mean, what, they played 4 or 5 games each. Again, the one I'm worried about would be Colorado because of the goaltending. Like, it's like so bad.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, Colorado, it's a health thing, which who knows if that gets sorted out. And Nashville, I do think they figure it out. It's just how long does it take? And my gut was like 3 was their floor, right? And obviously it's early. Like, by the end of the month, we could easily be like, oh, they figured it out. Cool. But I did not expect it to like look this bad. I didn't think that the growing pains and the adjustments were going to be this bad. Like, they're really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, another team that I should have gone with my fucking gut with, Winnipeg.
I don't believe
Still
it.
Fun. Still fun.
Still fun.
Still
I'm
fun
not
hockey
ready
team.
to believe it.
One big reason that I'm ready to like be closer to fully buying in is Nick Ehlers looks fucking incredible. Like, he looks so fucking good. Kyle Connor's going to put up 40 in his sleep without having to do anything else. Scheifele looks incredible.
Scheifele does look really good.
Perfetti had a massive game. I think he had like 3 or 4 points the other night.
He skates a little bit freer when he doesn't have a wire on.
Yeah, but he's not weighed down by a wire, you know? And I mean, Hellebuck. And the guy that I mentioned, Dylan Sandberg, looks fucking awesome. Like, so I'm very much, I'm like way closer specifically because like the Sandberg thing, but like Ehlers, that's huge. If he can get back to being the Nick Ehlers that we all know and love.
So hang on. Let me make sure I'm not speaking on my ass here. Yeah. As I thought, they look good. Who have they had to do it against so far? Again, it's kind of like the Minnesota Wild thing where they look good and they haven't trailed at all. They haven't played anybody, largely. Like, they beat the shit out of the Oilers, who did not look like the Oilers. And that wasn't because of the Jets.
Still look bad.
They beat the Blackhawks. They beat the Wild in overtime on a back-to-back for the Wild. They beat the shit out of the Sharks, and they beat the Penguins. Like, I don't see that as a proof point for me. And now they've got Blues, Kraken, Flames. Like, they got a decent stretch here of not having to worry too much. I wonder what it's going to look like for the following month when they have to play good teams. That's when I'll decide. I'm not saying that like it means they're not good. I'm saying I'm reserving judgment until they play a stretch of good teams. That's all.
Yeah, you know, and part of that too, though, and I go back and forth on this. Like, sometimes I think like a really weak schedule to start the season, obviously it's a good thing because you're going to bank points, but even just the confidence you get, because I mean, again, they just look so, and I fucking
they think it too, they feel it,
and like they have some ridiculously good hockey players, so when they're confident and they're going, like let's say they played every top team to start. They were like 500. You're already fucking exhausted 8 games in and like having to fight it or like really fucking ball out to win games. But like just the confidence that they can get just from like the first 10 or 11 games being a relatively weak schedule, paired with the fact that the players are ridiculously good. Like, I think that you just take that momentum into the tougher stretches, which again, they're eventually going to hit this point in the schedule where they're playing like every top team, but like they've just got so much momentum behind them. And again, like they still have Hellebuck back there. Like that's a pretty good guy to like have to lean on in the regular season. So again, I'm like closer to like believing that they're legit and they fucking should have just. So I remember talking, like, God damn, why am I putting them this? I was like looking through their roster as we were doing that. Like, fuck. I was like, God damn it. I was like, this. They're gonna make me look stupid.
Anisha and I did an exercise before the season where like we did a love-hate matrix. So it was like we both had to pick a team in the Central that we love to love. So like a favorite that we think is gonna be good, one that we love to hate. So that's one that like everyone expects to be bad that will. But then there was the flip, which is like I hate that I love this team because like everyone else says I shouldn't, but I do. And then the hate or love to hate, hate to hate, which is like, I think this team's going to be bad, but I don't feel good about it. And they're probably going to stick it up my hoop. That was Winnipeg for me. I'm like, oh man, which weirdly, Isha was on the opposite side. He's like, I hate to love them. Like, okay.
Interesting.
But yeah, I didn't know how that worked, but yeah, it was less about them. Just like it usually is for the Wild, right? Like I'm usually not ranking the Wild based on how good they are. It's like, okay, how much did these other teams go up and down? I know the Wild, they're going to fall somewhere between like 3 and 6. So where do they fit with all that? And that's where Winnipeg fell for me this year. So far, doesn't look good. But again, we'll do a way deeper evaluation on all of this come like American Thanksgiving. What a crock of shit.
As many say, Thanksgiving, as this more well known. Take that. Yeah.
What's a Canadian pilgrim look like?
I am not gonna get us canceled right now.
Oh, I really thought we could just be done for the night. All right. Real quick, gotta shout out our friends at Barrel Theory. I had a Brett Marshall beer, which for those who don't know, that means a sour. Not typically my go-to, but this thing here is called Brunch So Hard. It is literally a better version of a mimosa with a lot more percentage to it. So It was delicious. But let's quick.
Wait, real quick though.
Yeah.
I just had a couple other things I wanted to mention the NHL round.
Oh, do you?
New Jersey. Very good. One of the guys that I mentioned that was like, give him more of a look and he's going to look real good. Paul Cotter, 6 points in 8 games, 5 goals. Stefan Nason looks fucking incredible for them. He fought Duhaime the other day. Duhaime did not lose. But Nason looks really good for New Jersey back there again. And Nico Heischer's got 5 fucking goals through 8 games. All of a sudden, maybe he was going to abandon a little bit of defense, just go for offense here. But my God, they're getting even scoring throughout the lineup. Even Kovacevic, another guy that I really like that signing. We thought they might be like a 6, possibly a 7D. He's got 5 points for the first 8 games. They look really, really, really good. But I was very happy for Paul Cotter. And shout out Seamus Casey, this first 4 games in the NHL. He had 4 shots on goal and 3 goals. And all 3 were outrageous. Like they were the sickest goals possible. Like he looks fucking real good too.
Okay, how about this one, Z? The one that we all called in the preseason. There's chatter already for Tom Wilson to be on Team Canada. What? What happened? What did he do this offseason?
Yeah, well, again, so I was gonna go to Washington next.
Okay,
again, one of the things I was like, if they're gonna if Tom Wilson can get back to like being that premier power forward, they're gonna be a very good team. And what's he got now? 5 goals in 4 games, got 6 points. Washington, like they're gonna dip down because like the offense that they're generating, which they absolutely did not generate whatsoever last year. They were just relying on good goaltending and like low event hockey. they are like generating the most offense in the league right now, just in terms of like possession numbers and expected goals. But Tom Wilson looks very good. I mean, he's got 5 goals. I think he has like 12 shots. He's shooting like 40%, which, you know, I'm sure he'll maintain that throughout the year. But like even a guy like Jacob Chikrin, who is facilitating offense, like not just by getting points, even though he does have 3 in those 4 games, like the ability to skate the puck out and transport it from the defensive zone to the offensive zone, that's been a huge help for them. Matt Wall looked good before he got hurt. But like they just look like so much more of a well-balanced offensive team. And like PLD looks like he's trying. So, you know, that's unfortunately a pretty low bar to like, you know, have to hit, but like he's engaged and trying. So like that's something. He's got 2 points in those 4 games. Mangiapane looks really good. Kind of just filling that middle 6, like a little bit of everything role. He's got a couple points in those 4 games, but they're getting scoring throughout the lineup, and they're getting like offensive help through like transporting the puck and a couple points from their back end, which is huge for them. So again, I was pretty confident that they would be a good hockey team, and it's going about as well as they could have possibly hoped for so far. So they look really, that's a fucking brutal team to play against too, because they've just got so many dudes that are big, physical, and can score, and they're scary.
Yep, I'm wrong about them so far. Got to throw this one in from Ben B before we transition to prospects. And Ben, I might need you to throw in more context here because maybe I'm confused, but just curious, if the Avs wanted Gus and offered Mikko, what would you do? I hope this doesn't mean Mikko Rantanen, because that's just not really a hypothetical worth exploring. Joe Sakic might need to be doing like an ayahuasca trip or something for this to even remotely be possible.
Yeah, I mean, he would immediately ask for like Kaprizov or Boldy.
Yeah, right. Would you be willing to trade Gus in division if you got a good enough return?
I mean, good. If the return is good, yeah, you make that any trade.
Okay. Spoke Z. What would you want in a return for Filip Gustavsson? Besides Mikko Rantanen.
You need at least top
First
6
plus?
top 6 forward picks. Probably. I mean, that's tough to just throw a rant. Like, so I mean, when you look at it right now, you're like, fuck no. It's like,
okay, here's my question, because I asked Joe this on last week's hot take segment to the podcast, and if you're in the summer and you're Bill Guerin and you can't trade Filip Gustavsson, are you going into the season with a plan of like, oh yeah, if he looks good, we trade him then, or not? Because like if not, then there's no world where he gets traded, because if he sucks, no one wants him, and if he's good and you're not willing to trade him because he's good, that means he's not going anywhere. So do you think coming out of the summer, Guerin's like, yeah, he's here all year? Or is there some hope of like, oh, hopefully he looks good and we can move him?
I would imagine he was probably in the boat of like, get a decent enough sample of both him and Fleury, and like ideally Wallstedt would have not started the way that he started in Iowa, which by the way, not his fault. That team looks fucking awful. Fleury's played 1 game, didn't look good. So like,
which also, if you told me at the beginning of the year that Gustafsson was just going to play every game to start the year, I would have been surprised.
Yeah, right.
Based on the 3 goalie rotation that we had all been promised.
Right. Yeah. I would imagine he wanted to see us a decent enough. I don't think he would have been planning on trading in like October or early November. It would have been probably like you get what 10 games of each from each guy, because I'm sure they were probably like, most realistic scenario is they're both fine and like basically split 50-50. Best case, Gustafsson's getting more than the 50-50 split, but not by much. But so far, like Gustafsson's obviously been like way too good to not play, and you need to bank those points early. So like we've only seen one game of Fleury. But I would imagine if he was like seriously exploring that Gustafsson trade, he would have at least wanted to see a good enough sample size from both guys. So I don't think like a trade in October was ever probably something that would have been all that realistic anyways. And I mean, again, we'll see what happens the next couple of weeks here. But like at this point, the way it's, I mean, I would be surprised if the trade happened. But again, we are what, 4-5 games in?
5 games in, so everything's been decided.
Yeah, exactly. We know exactly where we all stand. This is how it's going to look.
Beauty. All right. Well, on the other side, we will get into some fun prospect stuff. Yay. Prospects. Let's do we start here, Z, with the college hockey guys? Take your pick.
Or
where do you want to start? You tell me. This is your show.
Yeah, I mean, usually we start in the CHL here.
Sure.
Just a quick, not going to spend much time. It's more of just a quick update. Ryder Ritchie still hasn't played in a few weeks. He took a skate blade to the face. And has not appeared in the game since. It was not great. Hasn't been any like huge updates from the team other than like Ritchie out, but like it was just a scrum in front of the net, and again, great name, Oasis Weisblatt, who Riley Height fought the other day, but like was cross-checked. His skate went in the air and caught Ritchie in the face, and immediately he flew off the ice. And he has not played since. So he's only played 8 games so far. And unfortunately, of course, that was the game that he finally got his first assist in, and it was sick. Ended up on the top 10 WHL plays of the week that week. But we have not seen him return. Yeah, they do like a weekly top 10 WHL.
Cool.
But just at least wanted to mention that just because he hasn't played in like 2 weeks now. But one guy that does look really good, Kalen Parker for Moose Jaw, looks awesome. He's so fun. Again, just like 6'1", smooth skating, right shot defenseman, super physical, defensively solid, and he gives you some serious offensive upside, specifically on the power play. He had a really nice week, points in all 3 games, 3 assists. It's also +3 in that last game. So he's got 6 points through 9 games this season, but he just looks really, really good. Again, like the pick a lot, especially once he moved from Victoria to Moose Jaw. Those 2 games, that poor bastard, they played Prince George. Those 2 games when he was playing for Victoria, and it did not go well. But he just looks so good. His head coach loves him, brings him up pretty much every post-game availability. Just a versatile defenseman. Again, the right shot, physical, really solid 2-way play. Really curious to see what he looks like moving forward and where he fits in. Just because like he's kind of different than the other right shot defensemen that they've got, where they've got a couple projects, and then you've got guys like David Spacek in the prospect pool.
Who's that?
Never heard of him. So like he's kind of just like a more well established in the sense of you kind of know what profile of player as far as like your right shot D prospects go. You have in Kalen Parker, and he looks like he's just continuing to progress. So I've really liked every game that he's played so far. But he just looked really good, so I wanted to at least mention him. Who were the other guys I wrote down here? Well, actually, sorry, Chase Wootsky had a really nice week. 3 games. He had to come on in relief. I think it was yesterday for the 3rd period. The other dude got obliterated by Edmonton. But he was first star on Saturday, 30 saves on 31 shots. So he won 2 of those games this week, and then again he came on relief in the third in the 5-1 loss. But he's just always about 9-10, 3 goals against. He had one bad game that really like tanked his goals against and save percentage. But other than that, he's been solid. Actually, I guess those are the only CHL guys I at least wanted to mention. So we can go to college hockey now. And I don't know if you watched Minnesota.
Who?
Jimmy Clark. Oh my God. He is okay. This series this weekend against UMD, he's just going off in all 3 zones. Power play, penalty kill, even strength, doesn't matter. He is in the game pretty much every time he steps on the ice, even just going on the forecheck again, winning pucks on the forecheck and then creating possession and creating offensive scoring chances. Like, he looks so good. And of course, in that first game,
line, dude, the Franken line looks sick.
They are like, that is just a fun.
And that's like arguably probably their second line, technically.
Yeah.
Second or third, depending on how they want to talk about it. So,
yep.
Yeah, things could be worse in Minnesota, that's for sure.
Yep. So on Friday, 7-5 win against UMD, had 3 assists, only 1 shot on goal, and then he went 5 for 17 the face-off top, which is the worst that he's had so far. But I mean, again, just like winning pucks, dishing. I mean, he probably could have had more than 3 assists. However, he was outdone, by the way, by another guy we'll talk about in a second, Aaron Pionk, who had 4 assists that game, despite losing 7-5, still was +1.
It was a wild finish to that game. Holy shit.
Crazy. It was a sick game.
I kept on looking away. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. And then Saturday, the 5-1 win against UMD. He had finally scored his first goal. Finally, 4 games in. Add another assist, so 2 points, 3 shots on it. He was a +2, went 10 for 17 at the face-off dot and a block shot. So he's got 7 points through 4 games. He's a +7. He's right around 50% at the face-off dot. He's got 4 blocks, but he is literally doing everything. Like, we've talked about him as such a reliable hockey player, but now he's given these line mates that he can really be leaned on for offense, and he's showing what made him so good in the USHL, how good his passing game is, and how smart of a player he is. And again, you said you had Motzko on Fellowship of the Rink, and he raved about him. Like, Jimmy Clark rocks. I love this player. Was thrilled they got him in the 7th round. What a joke.
Well, dude, it's weird. In the Motzko interview, like, he was, like, speaking so highly of him. I'm like, yeah, okay, why don't you put him on a good line then? And sure fucking did.
He's like, how about I give him Matthew Wood? He's like,
crazy,
sure.
Dude.
But those 3 complement each other so fucking well. And Jimmy Clark is an absolute workhorse on that line. He makes their lives so much easier just by winning those pucks. I mean, in the neutral zone, he's winning pucks too. Like, he is a beast to play against. He looks
Wood is actually demanding a trade to the Wild now because he wants to play with Jimmy.
I will never play with anyone else ever in my life. He's my only center from here on.
You want me to play with Tommy Novak? Actually, Novak rocks. Also a gopher. Yeah. But yeah, that's I love that line. It's fun. Snuggerud keeps on like appearing and disappearing though. I'm not sure, like, it's early, but next like 2 series I need to see more from him. Yeah. And I mean, they're still looking so fucking like, that's how good they are, by the way. Like, he's been pretty hit or miss. Like, he'll be a ghost for 30 minutes and then he makes a couple of ridiculous plays. And you're like, oh yeah, no, he's here. And they're still like just going off. They look so fucking good. And when we talk about another guy, shortly I'll tell you about this commit that's coming in on their back end next year. Oh my God. But yeah, shout out Jimmy Clark again, just continuing his solid start to the season for Minnesota on that great line. And again, he's already like, I think he's surpassed his point total already from last year. Maybe he had 8 or 9 last year. I can't remember, but yeah, he looks fucking incredible. Now, quick pause because sorry, Mateo, a little extra editing on this one, but we missed a key piece of the Not Weird segment. So we're going to bounce back for a second and address this comment from Cosgrove. LOL. Matthew and Pierre-Olivier Joseph dressed up as white chicks for Halloween. Rivals Fleury for best costume. We got to talk Halloween costumes. We have to. We're obligated to.
So you'll be shocked where I'm going with this. So the NHL, all these guys, they do Halloween every year, like incredibly well. And like on a team like Minnesota, where most of the guys married, like they incorporate the wives, and it's like always just these incredible costumes. When the Wild posted on Instagram the pictures of the costumes, and you're flipping through, it's like husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, then Fleury's McLovin, and then Jakub Lauko by himself taking a mirror selfie. It was the funniest. What? I don't know. Lord of the Rings. I'm guessing
that is the Witch King of Angmar.
Fully to the nines. You couldn't see a single any of his skin. He's got the mace in his hand, but the fact that it was a mirror selfie was my favorite part.
Oh, made it for me, man. I loved that. Like, he is so perfectly like outfitted, and it's like, oh my god, it's like you're watching the movie, but he's got a cell phone.
And again, like it was so funny that it came after like the couples dressed up really well, then Fleury's being beloved, but then Jakub Lauko, was just getting ready by himself in his apartment. He's like mirror selfie. It's so fucking funny. I love this guy. I'll talk about him every week if we can. I was so happy that he went to Minnesota. Told you he's going to be a fan favorite immediately. He has become that. That goal that he scored, by the way, was absurd. Oh my god! Seriously.
Thanks, Phil Gustafsson, for ruining that.
Of course, Lauko was like, I didn't know the rules. I want to jump on the ice when he scored.
That is awesome. I also really liked the third wheeling of Kaprizov, like naturally. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. Actually, it wasn't in college. It was like a couple years removed from college. But my buddy had a Halloween party, and we actually had one of my college roommates, the Sabres fan, Joey. Some of you might know him from a couple years back. He came on here quite a bit with us, but his girlfriend was like insistent on doing a costume with him, and he's like, well, no, I'm already doing a costume with my buddy. And he and I just got like the shittiest, cheapest like t-shirt tuxedos and did like full out Dumb and Dumber tuxedo. So like we had like shitty plastic like top hats. We made our staffs over the night, or our canes over the night, with taping beer cans together. And she wanted to be part of it. So she dressed up as a parrot in effort to be the dead parakeet given to Union 4C. But she did that and just was like, I'm part of this. We're like, all right, cool.
You know what? Fair enough. That's hilarious. We like that. That's pretty good.
But so I got to ask you, Z, and putting you on the spot a little bit, but if you had fuck you NHL money, what are some of your top like Halloween costume ideas that you'd like to do? And I got one at the very top of my list that I know you'd be down for with me.
I couldn't even. So I'm so bad. I am useless with this. I literally I had to go to my friend's birthday party a couple weekends ago, and it was like, I don't even remember what the theme was, but it was something to do with movies. And I found the Pizza Planet jacket and hat from Toy Story, and I just wore that out. I was like, this is funny to me, and zero effort. So that's how I roll.
Fair. Gotta address here. So obviously Lauko's mace was great. Trennan with his wife / girlfriend has Team Ricky Bobby is solid, but Hartman's was probably the best one. It had to have been the best one, right?
A+. I was dying.
I wish he didn't have I like turtles on the shirt, or maybe that was something that someone photoshopped on there. But like, if you need to tell people it's not as funny kind of thing, like I would have liked it if it was just him face painted and his wife holding up the mic. Like, that's awesome. My number one pick, and we got to pick two other people to jump in and do it with us, Z, but if I had that kind of money, my Halloween costume would be Kiss My Anthea.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, I'm in.
So it's the full Kiss getup, except it's like actually like armored out, like they're going into war. It's great. Gotta.
I would be it. Yeah, I would do that.
Otherwise, if we're gonna go like obscure, kind of like the I Like Turtles for Hartman, if I'm going with like viral video, I am finding a way to do Leprechaun in a Tree.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how, but that's a Hall of Fame, Internet Hall of Fame video. It's a first ballot.
It's the reason that the Hall of Fame was created. They're like, we need to put this video into a Hall of Fame. Let's create a Hall of Fame. Like, it is the best video that I've ever seen. And there's still people that don't know what it is. And it blows my mind.
It's sickening to know that those people exist.
Oh, it's so good. So good. That or this one from Mad TV. Where your boyfriend at?
I forgot.
That one's incredible. I love to fun full spin. Do you know who plays that character?
I forget his name.
It's not a him. It's a her.
Oh,
it's Ronnie's, and it's Ronnie's mom in Role Models. Yeah. Now we've gone full circle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. All right. Sorry about that, Mateo. Little veer. But let's go back to the prospects. Moving on from Jimmy Clark, we got the smartest guy on the team.
Mm-hmm. So Ryan Healy at Harvard, they played 2 exhibition games this past weekend. They played the USN TDP and they played BU. So I went and watched the game versus the USN TDP in person. And he is so much fun to watch. And that team is going to be not great again. Once they, like the year after they were top 10 and then lost like half the roster at the NHL.
Not great. Wild.
Yeah, sure. But he is going to be on the ice again for like 30 minutes a night. He's going to run that power play. He's such a good skater. He's so elusive. You cannot forecheck him. And I mean, even just like the passes he was making were different than everyone else's, like just crisp, tape to tape, like relieving pressure. And then you get into the offensive zone. Against the USN TDP, he rang the bar 4 times. Ended up with an assist on the eventual. Actually, no, because fucking USN TDP came back and scored. It was, at that point, it was the go-ahead goal before they gave another one up. But he finished only technically with 5 shots on net, plus the 4 that he rang off the bar. And I think he had about 8 other attempts. But he just looked so good against USN TDP. Again, he was flying. I don't think he turned the puck over once. Like, he is so fun to watch. Very high risk, high reward, because he is fearless when he's on the power play with the puck at the blue line. Like, I mean, fearless. Like, he is happy to just spend a lot of time. Like, oh yeah, fearless, just like Fritz. The hippo, shout out Fritz. But high risk, high reward. It usually works out for him. Again, just like when they drafted him, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen him stand still on the ice ever. He is constantly moving in motion, and like his problem-solving ability with the puck once he gets himself under pressure is incredible. Like, he will somehow have 3 dudes all over him, and immediately he just makes one pass when he sends Harvard the other way. USN TDP is fucking awful this year. This is going to be a bad USN TDP team. Like, they looked so fucking bad. They did scratch LJ Mooney, which was disappointing. He was right next to me. I was like, oh, shit, hey. Like, oh, what's up, dude? And then Murtag. But one dude that they had that looked really good for the USN TDP, that's a commit for Minnesota, 6'6", 220-pound left shot D-man who is fucking incredible. He's mean, and he flies. Maceo Phillips. Oh, my God. He is going to be so much fun.
Is it Maceo? Is that how it's pronounced?
I don't know. I have no idea.
In my brain, it's Machio, which is way better.
We can go with that, too.
I don't care which one it is. I just want to know what it is, because if it's not Machio, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, there were only 3 players on the USN TDP that stood out for me. It was him, 2025 prospect, Carter Amico, another dude that's 6'5" left shot D-man is incredible. He looked really good. And then Conrad Fonderk, that's the name. He looked really fucking good for them too.
That's all name already.
Yeah, I know. No, there's a bunch. I've already started to make a list. It's out of control this year. They're the only 3 players that look good. Will Moore, who again, like we put him on that like faller list somewhat last week.
Yep.
He's a top 10 talent and he drives you insane. He drove me nuts literally the whole game. Like it was just like you should be torching this Harvard team and you are just like not doing it. But anyways, we're talking about Ryan Healy, but I at least wanted to mention Marcio Phillips because I was like, that's a Minnesota commit. Oh my God, he's going to be so fucking good. He looked really good. And then Saturday they played BU, gets another assist in that game. He had 10 shot attempts. And he also rang the bar again 3 more times. Like he is letting it fly from the blue line, just throwing ridiculous backdoor passes. Like, no look, he looks so much fun. Very fun player to watch. He went off last year. He was almost at a point per game. He was second or first on the team before he got hurt in points last year for Harvard already. So he looks really good. One of my favorite players to watch. Harvard's weird. They start their season like next week or even possibly in November. They always start super late. It's weird. But at least wanted to mention him because I did get to finally see him in person again. And he looked really, really good.
Really, really good.
And then the other college guy that we had written down here, Aaron Pionk, I at least wanted to mention because in that game against Minnesota, started off not great. I think it was 5-0 after the first period. It was 5-0, 4-0.
Yeah, something like that.
And the third period was insane. Specifically the last like 10 minutes. But he ended up one-upping Jimmy Clark. He had 4 assists in that game. UMD is in for a weird season where they've got some really good players. The schedule, the conference that they're in is incredibly tough, but they've got some really, really fucking good hockey players on their team, but they're in one. And again, like he played a ton of minutes as a freshman last year and looked really good at times. Pretty high offensive upside as far as the college game goes. He's on that power play. He moves the puck really well. He moves really well. Again, this is a kid that was a forward until like 4 years ago, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. So his passing game's solid, very fun to watch. But UMD is in for, I think, like a challenging year where they're going to get the shit kicked out of them a bunch. They're going to be in close games with some of the top teams too. Wins are going to be tough to come by for the Bulldogs.
If the transfer portal just like shuts down or stops working, UMD will be good next year.
Yeah, dude, it's every year. Like it's tough for them. And again, being in that conference is just, I mean, it's murderer's row. College hockey teams.
So is the NCHC officially better than the Big Ten again?
I think they're even.
So far, I lean NCHC this year, and that's after like banging the drum last year that like the Big Ten was superior, with the exception, of course, of the Natty winner. But also Gophers tied with Denver for second best odds for Frozen Four. I am so excited to go down to St. Louis and watch both those teams. That would be so great.
Be a big fan of that.
Would not be against it. Aaron Pionk, though, you still sold on this guy having a potential NHL future? Like, because of his setback with, of course, like starting defense way later, like that's something that buys him more time in that transition. But like, are you seeing him take the right steps where you're like, he is going the right direction, or what more do you want to see from a guy like him?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, so especially a team like UMD, it stands out when a guy just looks comfortable on the ice and is just like making plays and like looks confident with the puck. Like it's just every weekend I'm like, holy fuck, like their schedule is outrageous. But like he just looks like he is their go-to guy, like literally offensively and defensively. So yeah, I mean, he's got NHL upside. Again, like the offensive defenseman, like it's always going to be a long road anyways. Is it going to be in Minnesota? I mean, there's so many guys already that are in the way. Who knows? But I mean, he's got an NHL future. Again, logs a ton of minutes. It's always tough to gauge like the defensive side of the game for a defenseman on UFD going up against every single top team in the country week in, week out. So it's always gonna be tough to gauge, really. But like, I mean, another guy that started super late that became a defenseman at like 16 or 17 years old in Boston, Mason Lowry. Same thing. He looks fine in the NHL already. So it's not like it's unheard of, but I mean, it gives him like a leg up just in terms of like the passing game and the offensive game, especially as an offensive defenseman in general. But like, he's definitely taken big strides defensively too. Even just going back, looking at his tape in the USHL when they drafted him. So, no, I like the player a lot. Again, Minnesota, it's always gonna be tough with this like just ridiculously long list of players in the prospect pool on defense, but
he stands out coming up soon, right? There's got to be in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean but every time you watch UMD, like he's one of the guys that stands out every single game. Like it's not like he's a ghost on the ice where he's just getting like carved up. So yeah, no, I like watching him play. It's fun.
Cool. So talk to me about who I think is kind of across the fan base, the top prospect for the team. What are we thinking about Danila Yurov?
Yeah, so he looks ridiculous. I tweeted out the video of the goal that he scored today. One of the best that he scored in his KHL career off the rush. And that shot that we associate with Bedard, the ability to like pull it in tight towards the skates and just fucking unleash a cannon. He did that off his back foot, used a defenseman as a screen. And like, I mean, the puck was almost touching his skate and just a flick of the wrist went short side shelf today for the eventual game winner. But he looks like an absolute game breaker for Metallurg in the KHL. They were like not great before he came back. They've won most of their games since he's returned to Metallurg. But that goal that he scored today again was so nasty. A lot of his points last couple of years have been like just from some seriously sick playmaking, which was something that was a big question. It's like he's always been able to create offense for himself. It was just, can he drive a line and create offense for his teammates? He's doing a little bit of both so far this year in the 14 games. Yeah, 14 games he's played in. And again, playing a lot of center, winning a lot of faceoffs. Defensively, he's always been solid. He's one of their go-to guys as a forward in the PK. He looks awesome. So it was always going to be a question like, we need off-season surgery. What does he look like when he comes back? And he took no time at all to just return to looking like what he did last year. But that goal that he scored today was so sick. And I haven't seen him like even try that in a while in the KHL. So he looked real good. So he's got 7-8 points in those 14 games so far. And then I actually went just out of curiosity and I pulled up like, because the sport contract is the site that we use now instead of God, what's the other one the NHL teams use that they tried to fucking ask us for like 20 grand. So we were like, nope. But I can watch shift by shift for every player in the world now. So we use sport contracts. Shout out sport contract. I looked at his underlying 5v5 numbers with Danila Yurov on the ice. Like Metallurg expected goals are like 82%. And like he's just generating offense pretty much every single time he steps over the boards. Like he is awesome. He is so much fun. I cannot wait for him to get over here. And again, the fact that he's playing meaningful NHL or KHL minutes makes you believe that he's even more likely to be able to step into the NHL whenever he does come over. So nothing but positives for Danila Yurov.
That's good. Let's go to less positive. Let's take 35 south down across the border into Iowa.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Talk about the craziest 5 minutes of your life.
So last night they played San Jose. After the first period, it's 2-1. Hunter Haight scored his first AHL goal. Unbelievably nasty assist from Mikey Milne, who I've said before has just looked so good for Iowa. The second period starts. San Jose scores. And there were a total of 6 goals scored in 4.5 minutes, and only one of them was Iowa. Also Hunter Haight, assisted by Mikey Milne. One of the goals they scored right at the end of an Iowa power play. I mean, like, they show the replay, they restart, they drop the puck, and I think 11 seconds later it ends up in Iowa's net again. Replay. They start, I think 47 seconds later, ends up in Iowa's net again. I think in 5 minutes they gave up like 20 shots on net. It was so bad. I was cleaning in my room, and every time I would turn around, like, I would hear the goal horn. I was like, what the fuck is going? I would think the replay was still going. And San Jose was just lighting them up. The only positive was Hunter Haight scored his first, second, and third AHL goal, first pro hat trick. 3 really nice ones, 3 assists from Mikey Milne. Those are like the 2 big positives so far for Iowa. Like, Mikey Milne, again, like, last year looked really good once he got healthy. I think finished like 5th on the team in points, despite missing over like half the year. Hunter Haight looks awesome. That's, again, through 4 games, they are 0-4. But he looks like he belongs. And this is like a somewhat undersized center, right wing, whatever. But he absolutely is fearless on the ice and is going up against like older, more experienced ex-NHLers. And he's creating offense. He's run the bar a couple times too. In transition, he is flying through the middle of the ice with a puck on his stick, creating offense with his own possessions and scoring chances that way. But as a team, Iowa is, my God, are they in one? They are bleeding scoring chances. Poor Jesper Wallstedt, the 2 games, he's given up 12 goals. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I would say he probably wants 3 or 4 of them back for sure, which is a stupid thing to say because every goalie wants every goal back. It always drives me nuts, but I just said it anyways.
He is a former first-round pick.
I mean, again, it's like he gives up a goal. He barely has time to get set, and he's facing another 6 shots. It's immediate. And it's so weird. The games that I've watched this year for Iowa, like, they'll have stretches of really good play. And then one breakdown, and all hell breaks loose. And there is just a 10-minute onslaught. And they cannot get control of the game back at all. It's bad. Like, which, I mean, we said before, young AHL teams, that tends to be what happens, which they're still young. They
were young last year. Players. They're still young? Aren't they all older?
I mean, believe it or not, yeah, they're still young. They didn't just become old overnight. But, like, if I could find – I'm actually scared to look at, like, the underlying numbers at 5v5 because, like, their expected goals for must be like negative 700%. Like it is insane. Like if they give up a shot on net, they're immediately giving up 4 more. Like they can't win the puck back. They can't get the puck out once they do finally win it. Like they're getting slaughtered. It is unbelievable. And like when they have a solid 8-9 minutes of play, they can't score. Like it's insane. It was that was the most chaotic 4.5 minutes of my life yesterday. Like I was sweating. I was so overwhelmed. I didn't want to like leave my room to go like start the dishwasher. I was like, I'm gonna miss 8 goals. It's like I can't leave the room.
Nice.
All
right, well, that's
but again,
tough.
Hunter Haight, huge positive. I was curious to see what he would look like in the AHL on a not great Iowa team, but he looks fucking awesome. So if we needed a positive, there's one. Wallstedt's going to be fine, by the way. I saw 2 games. People are like, "Oh, I was right," and I was like, "You don't even know who that is. I don't think you have any idea who the Wallstedt guy is, other than like the tweets from Russo." I saw people dunking on it. I'm like, what are you dunking on? How are you spiking the football right now? like on what? 5 periods of hockey? I don't get it. It's so weird.
It was not on my bingo card that you would say spiking the football.
I know. I had to figure it out. Figure out a way to do it.
Nice.
Also, it doesn't help that like Wallstedt was just chilling until they were like, fuck it. You can go back to Iowa now. And then he just got dropped on the front lines of an absolute war zone. Where
after not playing in like real games for a couple weeks.
Just eating fucking hot dogs and popcorn on the 9th floor, the press box.
Meatballs.
Chilling. Sorry, Swedish meatballs, right? Of course, obviously. Yeah, Wallstedt's going to be fine. I already saw comments in here, too. It was just like, Wallstedt's a mess. Like 2 hockey games? 2? For Iowa? Wait, he's done? Like, case closed?
No, yeah, Edmonton won that trade.
Yeah, I still can't do that shit. Every once in a while, if I'm feeling sad, I'll just go look at that trade again and then who Edmonton used the picks on. They already traded the guy that they fucking took in the first round. They traded him last year.
Classic.
Whatever.
Classic.
So, yeah.
All right. Last thing then. I mean, maybe you have other draft stuff, but if we're gonna talk NHL draft, we have to talk about the possibility, because it's still up in the air, but the possibility of Ivan Ryabkin going to Muskegon of the USHL. I love this.
Yeah, so I mean, he got his rights traded to Muskegon. I actually just saw there was an update, like literally today. Someone was talking to his agent. Again,
let me guess. Is it?
What?
Is it the same agent that everyone has?
No. Where is it? Figure that out. But either way, it came off the back of him typical KHL Russia treatment of like young players, where like they had him not play hockey to go get scratched 3 games in a row with the KHL squad. And I guess now what the agent was saying something about looking at the legality of him finishing the contract in America, which I didn't even know. In my head, usually it's just they terminate the contract, but like I didn't know what that meant. I was like, wait, what? But yeah, potentially we'll see if it happens. It would be so much better for him to play junior hockey in North America versus playing 0 minutes in the KHL, or best case 2 minutes.
So what's the distinction though here for him? Like, can he play college hockey, or why wouldn't he just play CHL instead of USHL?
I mean, I don't know. We got drafted by. Muskegon drafted him
in the USHL. Right. So what if he doesn't go to the USHL?
What's the only other team he's going to possibly go to, I think.
So USHL claimed him over any of the CHL teams? Is that how that works?
I think that. So Muskegon's always they got like Svechnikov too. Like they've always Muskegon's been a team that's heavily imported, specifically like Russian guys. Honestly, they've done this a bunch. I found the quote.
All right, I'm asking though, like, can he play college hockey? Yes or no?
No, because he's played pro hockey in Russia.
Right. So you're telling me that because Muskegon drafted him in whatever draft, he can't play CHL hockey? He has to play USHL?
I'm guessing whatever connections Muskegon has with like the Russian players they've always had, right? They've been the ones in the most contact with him. I have no idea. I'd have to look at where he got drafted in the CHL too.
If the CHL thing goes through, which we expect it to, and they can play college hockey, why can't he? How many games did he play KHL? How many years Super League?
I don't know. The agent also said he has no plans of going overseas. So there you go. It's a crazy. It is literally no one knows anything. Anyone that says they do is lying.
Okay.
The only confident statement is he's pissed off about not playing hockey. So.
Yeah, that's fair. It's way less fun if there's no way that he can play college hockey, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think he can.
That's too bad. Then I don't really care. Doesn't really do a whole lot for me.
I just want to see him play. That's really
correct. Yeah, that's fair.
So should I try? I don't get why the Russian teams do this. It's never made any sense whatsoever.
Ivan Ryabkin set to be joining USNTDP.
What a wild card. Wait, what? Oh, side note, I don't know if this will be funny to anyone else, but the USNTDP, when they played Harvard, they had an uncommitted 05 playing, which is a kid that was eligible for the draft 2 years ago who hasn't committed to college yet, playing on the USNTDP, which is a U18 team. I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on right now? This is blowing my mind. How is he out here?
This is for sure like Rudy or like an equipment manager that's just like, they're like, hey, when we play college teams, you can go out there and play. Otherwise, shut the fuck up and sit down.
Also, he played, what's the junior hockey league? It's like the NAHL out here, the Northeast Generals, and his buddies were at the game, and they were unhinged. Every time he stepped over the boards, there's like 20 dudes like climbing the glass, like going insane. But an uncommitted 05 playing for the USNTDP. I was at the game with my buddy Evan.
You sure that's not a typo?
Guy. We were like, how is? He goes, I think they just don't give a fuck. They're like, oh, let him do whatever he wants. But like his buddies were at the game, and like he was taking face-offs, and they'd be like, oh, going insane. It was so funny. It was legit, like it was unhinged. It was very funny. But like the uncommitted 05 on the USCTDP, I was like, none of this. I don't think any of this is allowed. Like this is crazy. It was the weirdest situation. Awesome. But so now that's my favorite player in hockey.
And who is that?
I don't remember.
Who's your favorite player in hockey?
I have the game sheet. I forgot. I put it right here. Yeah, Jake Gutworth. 5'8", 165-pound left shot winger. May 29th, 2005, uncommitted. I was like, what are we doing?
I definitely wasn't expecting 5'8". That's how he gets through. Like, no one even checks. Like, hey, you're good.
He was nasty, dude. He had some hands on him. But I at least wanted to. It was. I was dying. I was like, this is the best. Gutworth. I was thrilled that was happening. Again, his boys were, I mean, unhinged the whole game. Like that. At one point, he was on the bench. There was like a big face-off at the end of the game. It was like a 1-goal game, and I could just hear from across the fucking rink. The dude just goes, "But God, we're on the fucking ice."
It's so much better when it's one person too versus like a chant, just like one person randomly screaming it, and it's quiet enough that everyone can hear.
Well, immediately I was like, "Yeah!" This is what is happening right now, dude. I'm pretty sure I did see walk by. Fucking Ray Shiro.
I knew you were gonna say Ray Shiro. Goddamn.
I was like, I think that's that.
Did not get that question in for you. We had to cut out several because we ran long on a couple of topics. But
sorry, he probably wouldn't have. He probably like, I have no idea.
Never matter.
Never heard of it.
Okay, it is definitely Mateo that added this. Now I can tell that for sure. Gotta ask you, for myself and for no one else, is Michael Misa challenging Higgins?
Yeah. No, he's definitely challenging.
There you have Misa and Higgins talk.
Him, Martone, Roger McQueen. Probably McQueen and Misa more so than Martone.
But McQueen and Martone are definitely way better names.
Right. Actually, funny enough, our group chat for the Smart Scouting, someone literally today, out of nowhere, 313. So, and then like nothing for 2 minutes. How does everyone feel about Misa over Higgins at 1? I was like, oh, fuck. That's already, no, he's legit challenging. Yeah. No, this is a year where, like we said, like it's not like a out and out for sure first overall pick. Like no one else is in the same category. There's like 4 or 5 guys that could actually challenge.
Early assessment here, but how many guys are you going to be able to talk about for the first round for Sweden?
At this point, so far, probably 5 or 6.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we're back.
Oh yeah, Sweden's back. I mean, the top guys have fallen off already, but there's plenty of dudes in Sweden that are going to be first round pedigree guys for sure.
Nice. All right. Well, I think that's all we got.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything else I wanted to talk about. Yeah, we can end it. We'll be back next week, and I'm gonna schedule a tweet now to remember to post. So
Hey.
We'll see if it works.
We will see.
One time I did schedule a tweet for 2025, which I hope I didn't delete. I hope it just randomly posts. And I
That
forget.
is fun. That was the funniest thing when the original Sota Pod account got hacked. Is like I'm sitting there making all these arguments, trying to like argue for us to get it back, and then one day, like 7 different posts go up at the same time because they were all there as templates, and because like it didn't keep on getting pushed out by me, they were like set there, and then finally they all went. I'm like, see, this is bullshit.
Banned again.
Yeah, like get the fuck out of here.
They're like, yeah, we knew this was a mistake. Fuck.
Everything's banned.
Well, yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
See y'all next week. Hey.